If you are a positive person, especially if you're neurodivergent, you have to stay away from negative people. You have to, right? There's no way you're going to rub off on them. It's not going to work. I've tried it multiple times in my life with different people. It's not going to work. Those people want to be miserable. They want to be like that, right? There's nothing, in fact, they're actually going to negatively affect you. You're going to notice your outlook is way more dim. You're more weighed down. You're drained. It feels like they sucked the life out of you, right? It's not worth it. You have to stay away from those people. I got out of a situation where I was stuck with somebody so negative, just complained about everything for so long. I didn't even understand the impact it was having on my nervous system, on my emotional well-being. I didn't even know. Like, I knew there were signs. Like, I felt like more jumpy. I felt more on edge. I felt more explosive to conflict. But it turns out I ended up having to get diagnosed with PTSD after that. It was bad. Like, it really negatively affected me. And that diagnosis, after the fact, when they're like, there's been an update and you're like, you know, screenings and whatnot, like, have you been through something? It wasn't until that I realized, like, oh shit, I put myself in a really bad spot. It's not worth it. You got to stay away from them. I'm back to my old self now. I find joy in the little things. I find joy within myself. I don't have to look for validation and try to count on other people to keep me happy. And my interaction with my very negative family members last night only helped drive the point home that this is something I want to stay away from with all my soul. My aunts can be very negative, extremely negative. I'm out there helping them try to solve a problem. So they lack the ability to problem solve. I'm out there. They're counting on me. And, you know, they're just complaining and being negative over a situation they got themselves into. They're showing attitude with people that are trying to get by because they can't get by because they done hit the car. And unnecessary, the whole aura of the situation was just horrible. And I felt like a very familiar dread and disgust, right, and anxiety. I had to excuse myself. So, and that just drives the point home, like, it spreads. Negativity spreads. It turns the whole, like, it brings in demons in the area, and it turns the whole environment gross. But for people, let me give you an example. My little sister used to be a little bit of a complainer. She used to be a little bit, like, weak in that way and a little bit negative. Nowhere near to the extent of my past relationship, nowhere near the extent of my mother, nowhere near the extent of my aunts. So I don't know if you can even change if you get that bad. But I noticed a big difference in her outlook when she, like, just randomly started, like, complimenting people. She would walk around and just randomly call this lady pretty and say, hey, you're really pretty, or I like your nails, etc., etc. And it would bring, like, the whole area, it would bring angels in because now the whole aura was positive. And I started thinking, I'm like, is this the key to switch from negative to positive? And I was thinking back on my interactions and what I like to do when I would offer maybe the landscaper some water, or if I'd pick up this old lady's cane, or maybe the guy in front of me is short $5, I'm going to help him. The way it, you know, like the Bible says, it's better to give than receive, right? The way I would give myself to help somebody and spread positivity, that person would feel it. And it would reflect back off of them. And now the other person that's next to them that had witnessed this also feels it. Now the angels are in the area, and now the whole area is filled with positivity. So I started to realize, like, that's the key. That's why people are miserable. It's because they're selfish, right? You cannot be not selfish and not be miserable. Because misery in itself, it's you comparing yourself to somebody else. That's how you get jealous to begin with. Is you being, I'm expecting this to be treated this way, and I didn't get the way that was treated. So I'm going to be miserable about that. The only reason you're a miserable person is because you have a sense of entitlement, right? And you're only focusing on yourself. You believe that you shouldn't have to go through XYZ, and you're too good for that, and you're thinking about yourself, right? That's what makes people miserable. So, and I started realizing what makes people not miserable and in positive outlook are people that do not think about themselves. They have a habit of wanting to give and provide for others. And that's the difference. So my mistake with that was I would tell these negative people, hey, just be happy. Like, just have positive, like, outlooks. Like, you don't need to be, it's a choice. And that's true. That's all true. But because I've never been negative, I didn't understand that I was asking too big of a difference change. I was asking them to completely switch their personalities. And so my new advice would be start really small. Go out of your way to smile more, right? Just help people a little more. Just give those random compliments. Bring the angels into your area. Bring the positivity aura. Your day will be affected, right? If I wake up and start my day complaining about, oh, this isn't like how it's going to be, etc., I'm going to be negative for the rest of that day, right? It's just like, for instance, I used to be a dog trainer. If say we have a reactive dog, right? And if I let this dog out first thing in the morning, I just let him bust out the front door, he's going to have, like, for the rest of that day, that's his, like, whole energy. Like, he's just going to be crazy. He's going to be explosive. He's going to be anxious. If in the morning, like, I prioritize, like, impulse control, I prioritize him calming his brain down, I prioritize him relaxing, for the rest of the day, it's the same thing with weight loss. Like, if you don't make, it can be hard because it's completely not like you. But if you don't make the conscious effort to fight your cravings, you're not going to progress. So that's what I would say. My points here are, one, if you're a positive person, especially if you're a neurodivergent who feeds off of others' energy, if you're a very giving person, if you tend to overlook yourself, be very careful of these negative people. But that's anybody. And then my second point of the video would be, if you've noticed that you can be a little bit of a complainer, you can have a negative outlook, you can be a little bit negative, my tip would be to start making small efforts to where you prioritize positivity, right? The next step would be taking difficult situations and looking for the good things. That would be the next step. But first that's not realistic to somebody who truly is comfortable in their negativity, because negativity is very comfortable if you're that type of person. So the first step, just go out there, compliment the barista, ask how the cashier is doing, help that lady across the street. I guarantee you the way you'd feel, just those small actions, you'll feel so much better. It's better to give than to receive.